This historic site in which we celebrate another, I think, landmark vision of progress in our city, this infill project. When last we gathered in front of this building, it was November of 2019, and we couldn't have imagined what has happened in the ensuing months. Governor, we've missed you. I don't know what you've been up to the last year or so, but it's great that you're here. This building is extraordinary, and it's named in honor of the Cooper building, the Cooper Furniture building that was on this site. And as you can see, it does restore the historic facade. This cast iron facade installed as a tribute to what stood before, and also the same designer and builder that built the Grand Opera House. Celebrate the past, we pay tribute to what took place on this block, and we start a new day for new residents coming to our great city. We're so pleased that you're with us, so many of our friends, so many of our partners in the progress of Wilmington. I feel a little bit bad in that by opening this building, we're celebrating the fact that we're opening up Market Street again, especially for our neighbors who have lived through this construction for the last year and a half. Yet in order to do that, we close off the street for them. So to our friends at Al's, to our friends across the street, it will be back to normal soon, and we're grateful for your patience and grateful for your presence in our great city. We're pleased to have, as always, our elected officials with us and all of you to celebrate a significant milestone. We're pleased to have the governor with us. The governor, who more than 35 years a resident of the city of Wilmington, a champion for our city, and certainly a champion for the projects within the Buccini portfolio. He's been with us on so many of these occasions. We're grateful for his tireless support, for the support of the state that makes projects like this happen through the Downtown Development District funding. And Governor, frankly, we're glad to see you outside without a mask, and we're grateful for all you've done and for your leadership to keep all of us safe for these last 14 months. Please come forward and say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's great to be here with the mayor, with Rob, with Councilwoman Harley, and all of you. As I was coming today, I was thinking about many calls that I made to Rob Buccini over the last year when I would drive down King Street and look over at this construction site and see workers that were working pretty close together without masks on. So I'm just glad that we're able to get the construction done and do it safely and open up today. It's so exciting to be at another project in our city and see our city grow and get stronger. The mayor likes to say, if the city isn't growing, it's dying. And I like to say that in order for our state to be successful, the city of Wilmington has to be successful. And both are true. And that's why the tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars that the state and its agencies, from housing to transportation to others, and the investments in this city are so appreciative of the private investment that are leveraged by those resources. One of the more successful projects that we're working across our programs that we're working across our state, and particularly here in the city of Wilmington, is a project that then Governor Jack Markell started called the Downtown Development Districts. And this is one of them. And this project benefits from about close to $1 million of rebate leverage, if you will, that leveraged over $26 million of private investment to make this project happen. And we've seen that across the city, where those state rebates have returned almost $500 million, not just here on Market Street, but across the city. We've also made incredible investments in the transit system here in Wilmington to the tune of $55 million a year to run the system, over $50 million in the last year just improving the streets and lead up to the big I-95 project, and continuing to make investments like the Margaret Rose Henry Bridge, like the Transit Center just a couple blocks away, from here. And it's all very exciting to see our city continue to improve and get better, from Market Street to every neighborhood in the city. We are an eager participant with the mayor on all of these things, and we will have an incredible opportunity with the federal resources that are coming to the city, to the state, to do transformative projects in our city and our state. And I look forward to working with the mayor, to working with the members of the General Assembly, with the members of City Council, and importantly, with the private sector who make these projects happen. Very few of the projects that we're talking about would be possible without the investment of BPG and other companies like them, mostly BPG. I don't know how Rob and Chris sleep at night, but as I sleep in my house on 19th Street here in the city, I know that our city is a much better place because of what they bring to us in their investments, not just here in downtown, but in neighborhoods and in businesses across our city. So I want to thank the mayor, city council, and everybody who's made this possible, from PPG for this incredible project. And it's great to see that we were able to get it done during a year of COVID, where most every other business was closed down. God bless you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Governor. Mr. Mayor, today we cut the ribbon on 92 additional units to add to more than 1,900 that have been developed just in our portfolio alone throughout the city. And I know you and I remember years gone by when we were here for a ribbon cutting for Ship's Tavern, or actually it was the groundbreaking, and kind of the motivation at that time for what was Wilmington 2000, which later became the Renaissance Corporation, was at that time identified approximately 150 people that lived in the Central Business District. And just in the Buccini Poland portfolio alone, in the last 15 years, more than 3,000 people have moved into the city of Wilmington. So we're still moving, Mayor, and more to come, but please come and say hello to everyone.
Thank you, Michael. I was about to say we've got to stop meeting like this. Actually, I like meeting like this. Every time we have a ribbon cutting, we did Crosby Hill a week ago, really exciting. Now, actually, my thought when I came here was, I ought to be young again. I can see myself living in one of these spectacular apartments, walking back in the beautiful courtyard, coming out here to Market Street, walking up to all the great amenities and the great restaurants we have around here. I think I saw Debbie Schwartz here before. You know, you never imagine when she started investing back, I don't know how many years, 15, 20 years or more, that this place would look like this today, that we'd have this kind of investment and energy down here. But there's a variety of ways to describe it. They talk about tipping points or, critical mass, what have you. But we all know what that idea, we all understand the concept anyway. And we're there. We are there. We finally reached the point where there's a reason to come down here. It's why Quincy's going to have all kind of customers for milk and honey down here, and because you're going to get people down here, and you got people living here, and people walking out and saying, I'm going to stop over with 20 feet away, 50 feet, 100 feet away. I guess it's just important. Let me make 2 points. The city's going through, as the state is, everybody is, through the pandemic, and we know how we were when we went in. I'm not sure what it's going to be like when we come out. We know that there's going to be a new normal we all have to adopt to. And we know that there's going to be things like working at home, which impacts the city's revenues. So that's on the negative side. On the positive side, we have all these folks moving into the city, and that sustains us. There's a terrific offset that helps us. So people moving into the city is the lifeblood of the city. The second thing I wanted to say is there is a sense that we do all the investing downtown and on the riverfront, and that's not true. We have investors, we have the Buccinis and many others who choose to do this, and we're grateful that the state builds the infrastructure that it does throughout the city. But I'm here to tell everybody that we are getting a lot of money from the federal government, as the governor mentioned. And I can tell you, we are going to pour that money right into the neighborhoods, so that when the governor and I leave office, we're going to look back on what we've accomplished for the city of Wilmington. Obviously, John has a bigger job description than I do, but we're going to look back on Wilmington, and we're going to say that there was no neighborhood that was left behind. We're going to invest throughout this entire city, and let this city fulfill the potential that we all know it has. So, thank you, Rob, Michael, Bob Buccini out there somewhere, the the head of the Klan. Thank you. If nothing else, you gave us Robbie and Chris. Hanifa Shabazz, take a wave to everybody. She's done more for the city than 90% of the folks out there. So anyway, let me just say thank you once again for lifting my spirits going into the Labor Day weekend. I'm going to go pick out my apartment now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In advance of introducing Councilmember Harley, I do want to say a couple things, Councilmember, for you, just to know how hard all the departments in the city have worked to make a project like this a reality. Obviously, it's the early days, it's working with license and inspection, and all the departments that need to sign off on building plans and advance the project. L&I, who continuously inspects, the fire marshal, who's essential to obviously meeting from a developer's perspective, to meeting the strict timelines that we have in order to deliver the product, as well as protecting the public and life safety. The ongoing commitment we have from our police department to keep these streets safe, the support of the Office of Economic Development and the Mayor's Office. And I want to mention OED in particular, because this is a project that OED specifically controlled for years. They had the Cooper building, and Jeff Flynn is here. He probably would mention about 50 iterations of how to develop this building. One is a residential building, two is an office. No, it can be both. I don't know how many people he showed the building to over time. And Jeff, I hope you're pleased with the outcome that OED, on behalf of the Christina Gateway Corporation, was created in the late 80s, basically to redevelop this portion of Wilmington. So the towers that are down as we enter the city on Walnut Street to the Riverfront Park, all property they own. And over time, worked with private developers or the Riverfront Development Corporation to see that something good happened for a city, to create ratables, to create energy, to introduce new residents to our city and new employees. So the Christina Gateway Corporation, we are grateful to the City of Wilmington, to all of its departments. We're grateful for your support, because but for the support of those departments, progress doesn't happen. And for anybody within the sound of my voice who's considering building a project, you can go to Newcastle County, you can take 22 months to get something approved, or you can build in Wilmington tomorrow. So please join us and make progress here in the city of Wilmington. So, we have several applications in the city, Mike, don't worry about it. So, but with that said, I want to introduce a council member for the 4th District, and another in the category, Mr. Mayor, of we have to stop meeting this way, but we don't want to. Someone who we shared the podium with for the last 5 years for exciting projects throughout the 4th District. Someone who is committed to economic development and redevelopment within her district, but also committed to seeing that that development and redevelopment benefits her constituents and the broader community. Please welcome Councilmember Michelle Harley.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say that I'm excited and I am honored to be here on this afternoon for a number of reasons. One, I'm excited about being here today to congratulate and to celebrate the Buccini Pollen Company on another successful project. And I'm also elated and excited today to look at our Market Street corridor. And when I look up Market Street on 11th and Market down through the riverfront, I want to thank the Buccini Pollen Company for how they have truly transformed the Market Street corridor. When I think about my 4th District neighbors, I always see them in the community, and I always say, hi neighbor, and sometimes when individuals look at me, they look at me as if to say, I'm not your neighbor, but I just want to serve everyone notice that lives in the 4th District that if you live in the 4th District and if you operate a business, you are my 4th District neighbor. So I want to say to those that will be moving into the Cooper building, I am looking forward to meeting you. I'm looking forward to you getting involved in our community and raising the energy on this corridor of Market Street. I think it is time for us to raise the energy down here, and not only am I looking forward to you raising the energy down here, but also making a positive impact in the business community down here as well. And today I'm just overly excited. I think this is one of BPG's best projects in the 4th District to me, and I want to say to them that I really appreciate their partnership. I really appreciate them investing in the city of Wilmington, and I also appreciate how they have transformed abandoned buildings, buildings that have been underutilized, and turned them into something beautiful as the Cooper building, as we are here to celebrate today. So thank you guys, and congratulations.
I get a little bit nostalgic this time of year, especially in this neighborhood. When my brother and I were growing up, gets to the end of the school year, and the reward if you got a good report card was you got to go to Al's. So that was the exciting thing. So I'm hoping Rob Buccini gives me a good report card. I can stop down, and I'm looking for a new glove. But I would like to introduce Rob Buccini. I've described he and Chris kind of the secret to their success is their sheer force of will, as well as their unwavering commitment to the city in which they grew up. And it never fades. It's astonishing, and it's so impressive. And all of us, as a lifelong resident, are grateful for the impact they've had on our community. This project is but the latest example. Rob has many titles, co-founder, co-president, but he is also, not on his business card, but he's the director of design. And Rob, this may be the best one yet. This is fantastic. Please welcome Rob Buccini.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mayor. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Councilwoman Harley. And also thank you, President Shabazz, who we worked with on this project over a couple years. I deeply appreciate all of your support. And I think, Michelle, you may also add your title real estate broker, because we were getting ready to start construction of the project, and the meat market, Bill's Meat Market, wanted to sell their building. And in a very gentle but and pleasant but also forceful way, you explained like these are neighbors of ours in the community, and do the right thing, purchase their building, which we did, providing a great retirement, hopefully retirement for the owners, and then we were able to incorporate this and add additional apartments to this project. So the governor had indicated that we might have had an issue early on with COVID protocol here. It was maybe 3 or 4 weeks into COVID. I got a text from a number that I did not recognize at 11:15 at night. And I remember I was at my desk at home thinking, like, what is going to happen? We're all working remotely. We're very we were very short into COVID, and the governor was incredibly helpful in allowing construction to go on, and which proved to be the right call. But at 11:15 at night, I get a text about someone, a group of people in the elevator pit that were pouring concrete, not being socially distanced. So as you can imagine, I'm like, who is this texting me about socially distancing, pouring concrete in the elevator pit? And it was maybe a little prickly, my response. And the text response back was John Carney. So I said, the governor, I wish I could have deleted. You know how you can recall a text or recall an email? I wish I could have recalled that text. Because again, thank you so much for allowing construction to go along in Delaware. It was clearly the right thing, and again, one of the reasons why we're so far along in this project. The project started with several meetings over the years with Jeff Flynn and the Office of Economic Development. It was very complicated because we wanted to save this historic structure here, and we were thrilled that Dig Sol, our architect, came up with a phenomenal design and really embraced saving this ornamental piece. And as we're designing it, along came DDD, which allowed this to make financial sense. The DDD was really the missing component because, as you can imagine, this was not an inexpensive project. It was an urban infill. We had to demolish multiple vacant buildings that had weeds and trees growing through them. There's environmental contamination, and the DDD really is what made this building not only a very good-looking building, but also a possible building. And then, again, Jeff Flynn, I really appreciate how helpful you were with our team in shepherding this through the approval process, the design process. And this is something the city took great pride on. It's an intersection that's important. It's one of the first buildings you see when you leave the train station. So we took great pride in the design. When you leave the train station, if you're getting into a cab or being picked up or driving or walking up in the central business district, we thought this was very important, and we think that the design of this building is appropriate, that shows the direction of where the city is going today. I was in Raleigh and Durham on Tuesday, which are growing cities similar to Wilmington, and I was commenting when I came back about how cleaner our city is relative to the cities that I just visited. It really is a testament to the leadership here in Wilmington and in the state that we have emerged as a city that looks better than it did pre-COVID. And that, I think, is really hard to underestimate the importance of that, because as we have left COVID or leaving COVID, we've had these unbelievable announcements. Just down the street, there was the CSC new headquarters or downtown location that was announced. The governor had the Riverfront East announcement. We had the Crosby Hill, and there's just every week, if you look, there's a new announcement, and that happens because you manage COVID properly, the elected officials here. So I cannot thank you enough. We always thank our construction team. They do an incredible job in building these buildings. This had the challenge of building it through COVID. I'd like to thank our lender. John Reese is here from FCCB. Thank you so much, John, for stepping up here. And our marketing team has really turned into a juggernaut. When we open a building, it's not a question anymore of will this lease up, will we get the right tenant mix, but it's a question of when. So I just thank you so much for the way that you have made this so much easier, and it's gotten easier as we have progressed. And just want to again thank everyone in our company who has made this a success, and thank all the city departments for doing such a wonderful job during the last 14 months. And thank you.
Thanks, Rob. And it certainly, I think it is important to amplify the fact that the governor allowed the construction trades to continue. And it's not easy. It's hard to be 6 feet apart when you're hanging a sheet of drywall or you're working in on an electrical box installation. But the impact, one, of keeping people working in significant jobs, high-wage jobs, was so important to Delawareans, as well as the fact that we're celebrating several of these ribbon cuttings for the very reason that construction was allowed to continue these past 14 months. So we're grateful as owners and developers, but I know the working men and women of Delaware are grateful as well, Governor, for that. The person whose responsibility is now to fill this building. It's been built, it's beautiful, is our Director of Residential Leasing and all things residential. Please welcome Christine Shantu.
Thanks, Mike. Yes, I have a very tall order to fill, but when I first started with the company 8 years ago, there were 40 apartment units along Market Street across 5 buildings. That was 8 years ago, and it was one of the most challenging things we had to do. Today, there are 350 across 17 buildings, and we have one vacant. So I have an amazing team who cares, who has passion, and who respects the vision that Rob and Chris have put forth for the city. So we are extremely lucky to be a part of such a great development. And to the mayor, we rent to anybody who qualifies, so if you're young at heart, you are more than welcome to fill out an application, and we'll get you started. Thank you.
One concern, Christine, would be he's only guaranteed a job for 3 more years, so we want to, might have issue with the credit check, but let's keep an eye on that. I'm going to just make a few housekeeping announcements in advance of cutting the ribbon. So our speakers and other officials are invited to join on the first tour following the ribbon cutting with Krista Williams. And refreshments are from our neighbors, our friends at Milk and Honey Cafe, Green Box Kitchen, Eat Clean Juice Bar, and Maker's Alley. Let's acknowledge them for what they're doing. And the artwork on display in the units today is from our neighbors as well. Eunice Lafayette of Lafayette Gallery and Jimmy Thompson of City Painting Group. So, in addition to asking all of our speakers today if they could come back to the ribbon, I want to ask Jeff Brisbane, who's the development manager for BPGS, to come back. Brian Haldeman, who's the BPGS project manager on this beautiful project. Krista Williams, the Reside BPG property manager. Please start making your way back to the ribbon. And we have any? Well, we do. Where's Big John? If John could come back. Our lender, under a different name, but come back, John Reese. Jeff Flynn, representing both Christina Gateway as well as the City of Wilmington OED. And do we have Penny or anyone here from DSHA? If you could come back. And do we have anybody from Team Digsall today? Okay, got it. So this is the photo op. Can you guys see this? You want to come back? Just hold, folks, till we get our cameras back there. Can they see? Are you good from there? Or you want to come back? All right. So, you ready? Okay, on my count, we'll count back from 3. 3, 2, 1. So, folks, thank you for being here. Please feel free to come back to the courtyard for refreshments. Tours will be available. Thank you all for being here, and have a wonderful holiday. Long time no see.
Mike, good job as always. Stranger, how are you? Good. This is spectacular. Yeah?